About the same width between the fence there on the other side, between that and the grape arbor. On the other side was another fence went clear across too. There used to be a shed out here where I kept my hay for my cow and the horse.
So those two houses are on our old property.
Yeah. This fella here bought and built, and then this stayed empty for a long time. Then he finally bought that property and built that one. But he didn't want anybody moving along. But that's where I had my 21 stands of beans back under those trees. That was a nice thing. Always raised hay in here for the cow, horse, and stuff. So it's made a lot of changes.
They sure did a nice yard. They've got that thing. I never would have believed that a nice yard could grow back in this old field.
Well, honey, they built it up there.
I know it.
So you moved here in 1973 and you left here?
64.
Or
94.
94.
Yeah. I used to raise my cow. I turned that old orchard there.
Yeah. And this is a great tool shed. It's a big shop area.
25 to 50.
Yeah, the big shop, which is really
It was
neat.
painted barn red.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of these flowers here you see around here, I planted them when I first moved here.
And the little apple orchard behind the house. You can see. All right.
Here we are watching them put the string on
Now they'll come back these other 3 rows, see?
for hops. Yes, Hadley?
Yeah. Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, Mount Hood, and Mount Rainier. April 8, 1923. Bodacious occurrence happened in Rice County, Indiana. That's when I was born. And I went to school in Milroy. And Loretta was my surrogate mother after my mother passed away. Rob and I are brothers.
Nobody else knows that, but...
Yeah. Anyhow, after I graduated from high school in Milroy, I went to Connersville and worked in a grocery store there. I went to night school, learned aviation, and got a job in the factory there. I worked there for a year and a half, and then joined the Navy in 1942, about his birthday, November 2nd. So I spent 20 years in the Navy.
Where'd you do your boot camp?
Boot camp was in Great Lakes,
Ooh.
November and December. And for boot camp, went to Chicago Navy Pier for 6 months of school there. More aviation training. Graduated top 10% of a class. So I got my choice of places to go, and I chose Seattle.
Did you know anything about Seattle at the time?
Good.
Just sounded good.
Yeah. So I wound up in a place where they repaired war-damaged aircraft. Stayed there for 3 years. And in that meantime, I met Shirley, got married, and a baby boy.
I hear you met Shirley. You hid your watch?
Oh, well, during the first morning break, I had my eye on her, and I didn't know how to break the service of, meeting her, so one time break, I just decided I'd go over and talk to her, so I took my watch off, I went over there, and I says, hi, you know what time it is? The 10 o'clock whistle just blowing anyhow. We got to talk a little bit, so I was walking about this high off the ground for about a week.
And were you told not to converse with the servicemen, Shirley?
Oh, no.
Or were you warned off against dating them?
Well,
Oh.
during their bit for the war effort, you know. But she was Rosie the River, and it took me probably 6 months to convince her it would be okay to date me. She took me home with her one time for Sunday dinner. Her mom fed me good, and
You checked out okay?
did fine, and had a nice dinner there. And then we didn't date anymore for a long time. And then her mom asked us, "Where's that little guy from Indiana?" Says, "Why don't you bring him around?" So I had been then.
Meanwhile, I was dating somebody else.
Yeah, she was dating some army guy, more or less. But anyhow, we finally convinced. Well, I went on leave one time, and she wrote a letter to me while I was on leave. Sent it to Chase's house. He got it. "Hey, Ben, we got a letter from Shirley," and I had to run him halfway around Potterville to get him. Let me have that letter. Oh, yeah. So they teased me about it, but anyhow, we went back there and finally got married in 1944.
Where'd you ask Shirley to marry you? Did you get down on your knees?
No, I don't think so. I asked her dad for a hand in marriage, and he never did say yes. He didn't say no, so. Oh my, that's quite a deal. And we had
Did you get married? Did you get married in Seattle?
at her home. At her home, we had a Navy chaplain marry us at her home.
It was during the war, and there was very little gas. Very little people could travel very much, and
Yeah.
so we just had it at home, and they're real simple.
So there was 10 or 15 people who attended the wedding, and then we went on our vacation. Went on our honeymoon. For years we told everybody we went to Victoria, you know. And later on, after her parents passed on, we found a postcard where we had gone to Vancouver instead. So we had to change our story there. We went to Vancouver for our honeymoon, just from Friday night till Monday morning. 3 years of work at Sandpoint, Naval Air Station in Seattle. I was shipped out to Hawaii. First one out there to go on one of the carriers was going to Bikini, where they had atomic tests.
Right. So somehow you missed going to Bikini.
Yes, they changed their mind, and there was about 400 sailors in this group. And they put us on Ford Island for about 3 weeks, and it was the most boring place to be. 3 weeks. But anyhow, I got sent to
Well, I always liked
the Navy had large 4-engine aircraft there that flew passengers and cargo throughout the islands in the Pacific.
Uh-huh.
So we serviced the planes there. I was there about 2.5, 3 years. And the last
Was that Hawaii or Ford Island?
Hawaii.
Okay.
It's at the international airport position where that international airport is now.
Yeah.
They called it John Rogers Airport then. And so it was in September of 1947 that Shirley and Harry got to come out and be with me.
So they were back in Seattle while you were stationed there.
Yeah. So not quite a year where they were out there with me, and then we came back to the States in July of 48, and we flew back on a big 4-engine flying boat called the Mars flying boat. Landed in San Francisco, and they gave us 60 days leave. We took the train to Seattle and see her folks, and then we took the train to Indiana. That's where we took all the pictures you saw last night.
Okay.
Family group, you know.
Uh-huh.
That was the first time the family had met Shirley and Gary.
Oh!
Yeah. And your grandpa, Lowell, came to Indianapolis to meet us at the train station. Took us flying back to Raceville, and it was one of his Chryslers.
I think
Fast driver.
I was always told that he was sorry he never could serve in the war because of his knees.
He what?
He was always sorry not to have served in the
Is that
war.
right?
Because of his knees, he wasn't allowed to join up.
Well, he was a good mechanic. He worked on the airplanes there. He worked on them there, and I worked on them in the Navy. But well, anyhow, we had saved our money while we lived in Hawaii, and when we were back there in Indiana, down at Buzzards, they sold cars there, and we got our first and only new car we ever had, a 1948 Plymouth. So we drove that back to Seattle, and I was stationed at the Naval Air Station there again, and in the meantime, I got transferred to Moffett Field, California in 1953 and early 54. And the parade down there, the New Year's Day parade at, what do they call it,
Pasadena Rose Bowl.
Pasadena Rose Festival, yeah. Dad was out there. Your great-grandpa Stiers was out there, and I was down there, and so we attended that parade together. So after that, he and I drove back to Mountain View, California, and found an apartment. And Dad stayed there, and I flew to Seattle, picked up Shirley and the kids, and drove them back down there, and we set up housekeeping in Mountain View. So I was there until 1957, working on naval aircraft, of course. I deployed to the Pacific on 2 different aircraft carriers, the USS Yorktown first, and then the USS Wasp, the second one.
Where'd your tours take you? Or did you where'd your tours take you?
Oh, through the South Pacific and all the way to Japan and all the islands out there, Philippines and all over. And that was when they were having trouble with China and Russia at the time, so we had to keep on the move there, and we went up through the Formosan Straits and worrying about the Chinese shooting at us and all that sort of stuff. But they never did. So after I finished my tours of duty in that squadron, I made Chief Petty Officer, and in 1957, they transferred me to Memphis, where I was an instructor there for 3 years. And after we met a lot of people there in the church and still friends with them, we transferred me to Philadelphia, where I was to pick up a new aircraft carrier, USS Kitty Hawk. And the loader was on that, and Shirley we sold our house in New Jersey, and Shirley sent the kids to Indiana by aircraft, and she flew to San Francisco. And she found a house there for us, and then after the kids spent the summer of '61 in Indiana, they flew out to San Francisco, where she lived, and that's where the ship went to after we went around South America. It's too large to go through the Panama Canal, so we had to go cruise all the way around South America. And since I had acted as a typist for the air boss when we was at the shipyards where the ship was built, I was allowed to take my Model A Ford on the Kitty Hawk around the Horn to San Francisco. I was the only enlisted man to have a car on there. The rest of them were department heads, commanders and above. So I caught heck when we went across the equator as a pilot. He about beat my fanny off, I'll tell you. But anyhow, we made it safely around there. Yeah. So after spending a school year in San Francisco, then the ship was transferred back to San Diego. It was home port. And that was early 1962. So after I was there about 2 months, then the school year was out in San Francisco, so Shirley and kids moved down there. And so I rented a house in Chula Vista where I'm there. So we set up housekeeping there. And of course, we had to deploy on the Kitty Hawk to another cruise to the South Pacific. And so went through that cruise. By that time, my tenure was up on the Kitty Hawk. So I was stationed at North Island Naval Air Station. So I was there about a year and a half, different squadrons there, and we were maintaining the aircraft that had the big radomes on top, you know. And, so that was the one I retired from in September of 1964. And after that, I worked for myself for about a year, and then I finally got a job at Navy Civil Service at the same place, and I rebuilt helicopters there for 5 years. And after I made supervisor in the helicopters, well, then they transferred me to working on jets. And I was working final assembly on the F-4H, was the main fighter the Navy had at that time. And then that's 1973.
Well, in 72 we came to visit you. That was big news in your career, right?
Yeah, right. But anyhow,
In 73?
73, President Nixon decided that we didn't need so many people in civil service, so he gave us a chance to retire early if we wanted to. And we did. And so we moved up here in Silverton. And we've been here now, it'll be 25 years this September. We've loved it. It's a beautiful state, which Heather and Tanya can vouch for that now. They've been here for a while. A little Hadley. So the boys have both moved here from California. They're with us. And they live close by, both within about 15 minutes of us here. And we get along real good. We go camping together. Love the outdoors.
Now let me see if I can get it right. Steve? No. Gary and Patsy.
Mama.
Gary's two girls are named Carrie and Felicia. And Patsy's kids are named, I can't.
And Robbie.
What, we'll say that again, Annette and Robbie?
Beth and Robbie.
Beth and Robbie.
Yeah.
And Wendy is married to Steve. And she has a daughter, Sarah. That's her only child. And his kids, she has got three boys.
Two boys. Daniel and Mom? Oh, Daniel and Jacob.
Daniel and Jacob.
Yeah. How could I forget that? But Jacob, let's see, he'll be 20 in November 24th this year. It's hard to believe that. And Daniel will be Saturday, tomorrow, he'll be 16.
Ooh, big time.
Yep. So they live in Grants Pass with their mother. Gary is working in a Oregon State Agriculture Department laboratory where they test all kinds of foodstuffs that are exported to Oregon. Patsy is a supervisor of record keeping in an orthopedic clinic in Salem, doing real well. And Steve works as a maintenance supervisor at a large rest home for Lutherans.
I saw that on his shirt last night.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I didn't know whether they went to a Lutheran church or that's where he worked.
Steve and Wendy are Seventh-day Adventists. And, Wendy is right now she cleans her church, she cleans our church, she cleans some homes, but she wants to get into making beautiful flower arrangements and things. She's taking classes in flower arranging, both silk flowers and fresh flowers. And she does a good job, honey. You don't like that. Yeah, monkey. Yeah, look at the camera. Did you see the monkey in there? I hated that, but even then, I was named after my dad, that's what they called him. Always on a bowl of chili and a ham. That's what he fixed me. But he lived at our house for the end of his days. After he got ill, he kept our house there in Hilltop and lived until he passed away. But I don't remember much about that. For some reason or other, it just didn't stick with me.
Do you remember your grandma very much?
No. I remember her visiting the Hilltop once in the summertime, and we had an awful windstorm, and she took us all to the cellar. I remember that.
Wasn't a very big cellar.
No.
No, it was a tiny cellar. You had to all fit in there.
It was less the size of, smaller than the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, I remember visiting her once in Newcastle,
Uh-huh.
and when she lived with my dad's brother, Uncle Charlie.
Mhm.
And Uncle Charlie's had a daughter. Her name was Mary Elizabeth, after my grandma, and she was an older girl. She was a lot older than I was. I guess she was nearly in her 20s, and that was the last time I remember seeing my own grandmother's daughter. But I don't remember how old I was. I was just a little kid.
Yeah. And do you remember how old were you when your mother died?
4.
So you don't really remember her a lot.
Just
A little bit.
two instances. The night she died, I remember when she going in that left door there,
Uh-huh.
and she was in the corner, right there in the corner of the
Uh-huh.
house. And she was laying there.
Yeah.
I stayed with my Aunt Mary Gardner. They brought me over there before she passed away.
And remind me again, how did she pass away? You guys told me.
They call it food poisoning.
Yeah. That's what you said.
And I don't know how soon I went to live with Lolita, but she had just had a baby. Bob was born on July the 7th, in 1927. That was the year Mother passed on. I think she passed on in August, September, October. I just don't remember what's.
Yeah. And and why'd you go live with Lolita?
Well, I was the youngest one of the family, just 4 years old, and Opal had enough to take care of. She was the one to take care of the family, so cooking and all. So I guess they put her up there. Who made the decision or what?
Yeah.
I didn't have much to do with that.
Right. They do it.
Down there on that post, back of that lamp, there is a picture of my mother when she's 18 or 19. Get that if you want to see it.
Where? Tell me.
Right there above that lamp on that post. Grandma picked to sew all her daughters. She had 5 or 6 daughters learn how to sew. And she's got another picture over there. She's looking at it too.
So this is your mom when she's
Yes,
19?
I think, well, that's as far as I can
close as
discern. Yeah, she was born in 1884. Dad was born in 1883.
Pretty lady.
Yeah.
My great-grandmother. Right next to the lighting Moe's.
Yeah.
Turn it upside down and so you can see the light on Moe's.
No, I have that picture at home, thank you.
Do they? Have you ever seen her old
I haven't seen him for a long time.
How old are you in this picture?
I'm in the 8th grade.
8th grade.
It's the only time I wore glasses, one of the kids.
You know, she went to a beauty school once, so she could really fix hair pretty.
Really?
Yeah, she used to fix my hair every time we went back there. And I was always
I thought I'd get a quick picture of the cars and the house. And the beautiful azaleas that are in bloom.
The lights are on.
Yeah, Hadley did that.
Did you hear that? We'd like to take a picture of all of us together if you don't mind before you get in the car. Okay. That's okay with you.
I think you must have done a lot for the Lions Club to get all those patches and pins.
You're